Most men are unaware that they are being disrespected in their relationship until it's too late, because it's so subtle to begin with. Once they realize this, their relationship is often beyond repair. So they either stay in that relationship that they absolutely hate, or the woman ends up leaving them. In this video, you and I are gonna have a chat about why it's so important to understand when a woman is disrespecting you in your relationship. After that, we're gonna go over the 5 most common ways that a woman will disrespect you that are extremely subtle to begin with. Finally, we're gonna speak about the exact system that you can use when a woman disrespects you in your relationship so that you can avoid it forever. If you understand what we're going to speak about in this video, you'll be able to maintain a relationship where she adores you, she looks up to you, you'll maintain that strong masculine feminine dynamic, and she'll also allow you to step into your masculine role. From my personal experience and from the clients that I've worked with, one of the best feelings in the world is to have a feminine girl who looks up to you and also compliments you with her femininity. I've coached hundreds of guys over the last 5 to 6 years get the girl, and now I help them keep the girl. And one thing I've realized is that this is when you start playing the game on hard mode. Getting the girl, that's the easy part. Maintaining a strong, solid, healthy relationship, that's the hard part. So let's get into it. So why is it important to understand these subtle forms of disrespect in your relationship? The reason is because if you don't course correct, she will keep on disrespecting you. And every time she keeps on disrespecting you and she gets away with it, it's gonna get a little bit worse and a little bit worse and a little bit worse. Eventually it's gonna get to the point where she has absolutely zero respect for you. She's not looking up to you. She loses attraction in the relationship, and you're gonna be left with a woman who just doesn't love you at all because she's fallen out of love and she's gonna leave, or you're gonna be in a situation where she doesn't even wanna be in that relationship. I've made a whole video outlining exactly why you need to be higher value and she needs to look up to you for there to be maintained attraction in the relationship. Click the link either here or there, just so that you have an understanding of the optimum dynamic of the ideal relationship. Here are the 5 subtle ways that a woman will disrespect you in your relationship. I've ranked them in order of severity, 1 being the least severe, going all the way to number 5 being the most severe. Voice tone. What you'll notice is that at the beginning of the relationship, and what I mean when I say at the beginning of the relationship, I mean in the honeymoon period. Normally the first 6 months to a year, that's the honeymoon period of the relationship. She's on her best behavior. She treats you with a lot of respect. She speaks to you well. Her voice tone is not disrespectful at all. But what you find is that after that honeymoon period, she starts to slip into her normal behavior, and then you see who she truly is. Now, one litmus test that you can use to know whether that girl is speaking to you from a place of respect or disrespect. I'm gonna give credit where credit is due. This mindset or this lens that you filter voice tone through comes from Psychax, highly recommended YouTube channel. The filter that you use to determine whether voice tone is disrespectful or not is whether she would speak to her boss with that voice tone or not. And if she wouldn't, then it's disrespectful, because she's not going to be speaking to a person of authority with that voice tone. And that's the same type of voice tone that she should be speaking to you with. We're going to go over exactly how to correct all of these subtle forms of disrespect in just a moment, but we've got 4 more forms of disrespect that you have to be ultra vigilant for in your relationship. The second way that a woman can disrespect you in a relationship is interrogation. So hammering you with questions in terms of why you're doing certain things, where you're going, why you're going there. This is not what a man wants in a relationship. He doesn't want to be interrogated the whole time. Now, I do understand that if you have set boundaries for both you and her at the beginning of the relationship, and there's a reason to question those, obviously there has to be a discussion. But what I'm speaking about now, and what I've seen with a lot of clients that I work with, is that the girls that they're in relationships with, they hammer them with questions from a demeaning place, and this essentially lowers the value of the man in the relationship if he accepts that, and it's not acceptable behavior. Number 3, now we're upping the ante. In this modern day of relationships that we find ourselves in, there's this common belief that relationships are 50-50. They're not 50-50. In every single relationship, there's always someone who is leading the relationship and there's someone who is following in the relationship. It's the natural dynamic of any healthy relationship. There's a yin and there's a yang. It's never 50-50. In some cases, it's actually the woman leading the relationship. The woman is more masculine, the man is more feminine, and he follows her lead. That's not the way I want my relationship to be. When a woman is constantly challenging your decisions, what that is subcommunicating from her to you is that she doesn't trust your decision-making process. That is the type of behavior that needs to be nipped in the bud immediately. What I'm not saying is to completely disregard the woman that you're with and her opinion. If there are big life decisions that need to be made, obviously you need to make them with her. But on a day-to-day basis, there are always small decisions that need to be made. And like I said, there's always one person leading the relationship and one person following the relationship in healthy relationships. Now, I'm not saying that you need to completely disregard the woman that you're with and her opinion when it comes to making big decisions. Of course not. You guys are a partnership. You move together as a unit. But on a day-to-day basis, there are many decisions that need to be made. And if you're constantly being challenged with those decisions, this is a form of disrespect. Now, number 4, now we're upping the ante, and we're gonna go over exactly how to deal with these based on the severity. But for now, let's just go over what these are and then how to fix them afterwards. Comparing you to other men. Probably one of the biggest forms of disrespect that you can have from the girl or the woman that you're dating or in a long-term relationship with or that you're married to. It's a big no-no. And finally, one of the biggest offenses and one of the most disrespectful things that a woman can do to you in your relationship is just mock you, not only in private, but in public. Now, there's a difference between playful teasing when you're in private and you have that great dynamic with her, you have a bit of banter back and forth. When it comes to teasing and malicious mocking, not only in private, especially in public, there are certain things that you can't come back from in a relationship. Once certain lines are crossed, it's very hard to gain that respect again. And that's exactly what I'm going to go over now. How to deal with disrespect in your relationship. From my experience and from the clients that I've worked with, there are 3 effective ways to deal with disrespect in your relationship. Number 1, which is very simple, but most guys don't actually do this, is you sit down with a girl from a very unemotional place, a place that's non-reactive, and this is extremely important, a place that's non-reactive, where you've been emotionally impacted by what the girl does, and you just call her out. You just say, look, I don't like the way you did that thing. Let's not do that moving forward. Very simple. Most of the time, if you're dealing with a rational girl who looks up to you, she loves you very much, she's gonna take that on and she's gonna implement it. Number 2, which is a little bit more extreme just in terms of the way that you deal with these forms of disrespect, and that's just leave the situation. And what I mean by that, it's not leaving the relationship, but what I mean by leaving the situation is that you separate yourself. This could mean a variety of different things. You take some time to yourself to think about what's happened, you leave the house, you withdraw attention, and this is a form of light punishment to convey the fact that you're not happy with what happened, and that's something that you will just not tolerate moving forward. Now, the 3rd and final way to deal with disrespect is the most extreme, and this is when your boundaries have just been blown out the water. You need to decide what your boundaries are in the relationship, what you will accept and what you won't accept. These are specific to you. But if your lines have just been completely crossed and you know that they've been crossed, she knows that they've been crossed, leave the relationship, period. You always, as a man, have to be willing to leave the relationship. And the reason for this is because the ultimate power that you have in a relationship is to walk away, to maintain a sense of dignity when it deteriorates to such a point that there is no coming back. And if you're willing to do that, the woman that you're with can sense that. The surprising thing is that men nowadays don't actually have the ability to do this. They are willing to just put up with the worst forms of behavior and they will just stay in that relationship. And the girl can sense that. And what happens when the girl can sense that? She's gonna push the boundaries, the man's gonna accept it, she's gonna keep pushing the boundaries until she just loses complete respect for him, and then they end the relationship. So it's not only beneficial for you to have the ability to walk away, but it's also extremely beneficial for her because it maintains a strong relationship dynamic where you respect yourself and she respects your boundaries. If you enjoyed this video, I created a whole video on how to maintain a strong dynamic where the woman looks up to you from the first day you meet her to however many years you've been in the relationship with her. I highly recommend that you watch it. I'll put it here on the screen right now. If you have any questions, send me an email, journeyofles@gmail.com. And as always, I'll see you in the next video. Peace.